Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Attorney John Deaton announced in recent days that he had some news to share with the public, and that such news would be shared today. And that did occur in a live stream which ended about 45 minutes ago. At the time that I'm recording this, it's now, 5:03 p.m. Central Time, the time zone that I'm in here. And so I was able to catch it live. And I want to share with you what he stated. At the time that I'm recording this, it's not on his Crypto Law YouTube channel. Presumably, it's going to be uploaded to that. But I was able to catch it on X, social media platform X, previously known as Twitter. And it ended up not being just one announcement, but there were three announcements. And it's interesting because part of what people were supposing was going to be discussed, I think it was on that topic. In particular having to do with ETH and all the shenanigans leading up to, we'll get into it in just a second here. But it ends up being the case that, although now we have a clearer idea of what it's going to be, I think that the biggest, hardest hitting stuff is actually yet to be seen. And after hearing what Attorney Deaton stated here, I'm optimistic that it's going to be a bombshell, my word, not his. He had his own words to describe just how big of a deal this is, and it is. But I think we're going to have to wait a little bit, and I'll explain why. But I want to share with you what the three big announcements are. Before going further, though, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Okay, so after I watched this thing live, I went back and I made some notes on a few key points because I want to make sure I didn't forget the most crucial stuff here. And it was kind of funny because when Attorney Deaton kicked this thing off, and the stream went like 17 or 18 minutes, somewhere thereabout, he said, look, because again, he announced that he had some news to share, and he goes, look, I'm never going to pre-announce an announcement ever again. That's basically how he kicked it off. And then I was like, okay, what's going on? So then he says, because people thought that it was going to be something, well, there was all sorts of speculation. Maybe that John Deaton was going to be announcing that Ripple and the SEC had come to settlement terms, so there's going to be no appeal, which of course is silly speculation because Attorney Deaton doesn't work for Ripple, right, in any capacity, right? So that one was kind of silly, but there's stuff like that. And at first, he just said, I'm going to share something in recent days, and then he just noted that it kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's going to be a major announcement, and this got hyped up. And it wasn't John Deaton's fault that happened, but that's just kind of what happens with the internet, So, I mean, there's all sorts of... In fact, here's an article on your screen, which was published earlier. Deaton shares 3 hints on highly anticipated big announcement. So this was an article about the fact that he's going to have an announcement. So yes, crypto media has full articles about him saying there's going to be an announcement. This isn't the announcement, but there's going to be an announcement. So crypto media is even covered that. And then he noted, and I thought this was funny, that his favorite speculation on this was the rumor that the big news to drop would be that Deaton was dropping his debut rap album. And I'm sorry to disappoint anybody out there that thought that might be what was happening. It is unfortunately not happening, but we can always hope for the future, right? We can always hope for the future. And here's a post from Deaton on X, and this is from just last night. Because my fellow XRP YouTuber Jungle Inc. Said, hey, John, can we get a hint on what the possible announcement tomorrow may be? And he said, John Deaton did respond and he wrote, only because my friend Jungle asked. Here are 3 hints. Number 1, the photo below. 2, the XRP ledger. 3, the ETH ICO. And so the picture here is of John Deaton. And I believe that I read that this picture was from when he was in the process of writing the writ of mandamus. I apologize if I'm mistaken on that. I think that's what I read previously that was, because John Deaton had shared this photo very recently in another post, and I'm pretty sure that's what he said that it was. So again, apologies if off, but I think that's correct. But so announcement number 1, and this would be the only one that possibly anybody could have guessed, and many people did, especially based off of the hints that he dropped here. Although admittedly, again, the biggest stuff to follow from this, we'll see what it is. But after hearing this from John Deaton, I'm actually more optimistic than ever that the public is going to hear stuff presumably pertaining to ETHgate. And he wasn't terribly specific, but just based on the context of what he's talking about, what we know within the XRP community, I think it's pretty reasonable to speculate that, and it's probably going to be pretty big. And so As far as announcement number one, he noted that the most talked about person right now in the XRP community is Steven Narioff. And here, this is a picture of him right here. This is his X profile. And so Deaton highlighted that Steven Narioff, and it's cited on his page here too. He's an attorney, among other things, and he noted that Steven Narioff was charged by the government, and Deaton had previously noted this on his crypto law website, just as a matter of fact. And he also had them on the XRP timeline on the crypto law website, which I've highlighted more than once, certainly over the years as it's been developed. But he was cited as part of that on the crypto law website, which really the community helped put together, and Attorney Deaton credited the community with that as well. But John had been tracking Steven Narioff because he knows this guy has been in crypto from the beginning. In fact, John came across a tweet from Steven where he was talking about Bitcoin when it was 30 cents. And I'm talking about at the moment in time, the real price of Bitcoin was only 30 cents. This guy was tweeting about it back in the day. And he was also involved with the beginning of Ethereum. And, ultimately, interestingly, the case against Narioff was dismissed by the government, which John noted was interesting since the accusations against him were so strong. He was facing potentially decades in prison, and there was no reason for the government to drop the case against him. If there's some sort of new evidence that was found, something along those lines, okay, maybe you'd expect it. But no, he just was like, nope, we're going to take this thing to court. Let's get some sunshine to disinfect this toxicity, which is absolutely utter nonsense. It seems to have been the approach that Narioff was taking. And then as soon as he's like, nope, let's hash this thing out, even though I'm risking decades in prison, then suddenly the case was dropped. Now, isn't that interesting? So that caught Deaton's attention, so he reached out to Narioff. And, the biggest piece to take away, though, is this. John says, and this is my opinion that this is the biggest piece to take away, John says that all of his communications with Steven Narioff are protected under attorney-client privilege. So, folks, what does that mean? So, Deaton's an attorney, Narioff's an attorney. Which one's the client? I'm going to go hazard a guess that Steven Narioff is the client, and Attorney Deaton's providing the serve. That would be my guess here. So, so there's something going on there, obviously. So as it pertains to dirty government shenanigans and possibly the origins of Ethereum, there could be some very big news dropping in the future. And Deaton said he intends to have Narioff on his crypto law channel in the future, but it's got to be under his own timeline, of course. Presumably because again he's the one that's the client, right? But yeah, Deaton says that people who have minimized Narioff's role in the development of early platforms, so presumably Ethereum specifically, although he didn't cite it that way, they were absolutely lying about him. And he also says that if, and this is interesting too, check this out, if the Larson and Garlinghouse trial does move forward, he says that the Hinman cross-examination, because Hinman's going to be, he's going to be on the stand, right? The Hinman cross-examination will be, quote, of epic proportions, end quote. And John says the truth is going to come out. So that's the biggest announcement in terms of what anyone in the community could have possibly guessed. Now, as far as what that's specifically going to mean, now we just know that stuff is going to be coming out. It is going to be happening. Oh, I just noticed that Steven Narioff has me tagged in this. Oh, how about that? Yeah, well, I'm spreading the word, buddy. Yeah, I just noticed. I didn't realize. I have it on the page right here. He's got a pinned tweet with me and others tagged in it. Thank you, John Deaton. I look forward to the real truth coming out. Oh, that's awesome. Wow, I just opened this page again right before recording, and I didn't realize that was the top post. I probably should have read that. Well, that's a fun little surprise there, then. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm helping to spread the word right now, and I look forward to seeing what you have to say, Steven. Absolutely. I don't know exactly what it means, but yes, I definitely am just as curious as the next person to know, and let's get your word out there for sure. Absolutely. And then the second announcement was John Deaton. It turns out John Deaton has become an angel investor in Spend the Bits with founder Jay Cambo. And he said that you can basically call him like the chief legal advisor of Spend the Bits. and spin the bits. To me, I've talked about it so many times on this channel. I think it's endlessly fascinating because it fulfills Satoshi Nakamoto's vision of what Bitcoin was originally supposed to be. A peer-to-peer cash system. That's it. It's just with the lousy layer 1 technology compared to modern standards, it doesn't work so well layer 1, not when you've got the whole world using it, right? It doesn't work so well. But the XRP ledger, which itself is a layer 1 technology, can be used as though it's a layer 2 technology, and it is. It's being used in just that capacity by Jay Cambo as Spin the Bits. And so I don't want to get into a ton of detail about how it functionally works. I have covered that on the channel in great detail. But to just know that it allows you to spend your Bitcoin instantaneously, just as quick as the XRP ledger allows you to move XRP. So a matter of a few seconds, it's done. There's, as far as the XRP ledger portion is concerned, that's settled with finality, of course. But so anyway, the problem's fixed. It's like you don't even need Lightning Network. Lightning Network works in certain circumstances, but there are capacity issues. There's been all sorts of not so hot news lately with Lightning Network. I don't know if it's ever going to work the way that it was, initially dreamed to ultimately work. And again, I hope it does. I mean, I certainly would love to be the case, but the neat thing is the problem has been solved. And I think that's a coolest damn thing. You can use the XRP ledger to actually spin Bitcoin in real time. The problem's been solved. We just need the wider adoption of this. And so it's so neat to me because I think that just helps the XRP ledger ensure the long-term viability of Bitcoin and vice versa. They help each other now. That's awesome. Now, I know Bitcoin maximalists hate that, but it's true. You hate the XRP ledger because of stupid reasons, because you're an ideological idiot, right? Some of these Bitcoin maxis anyway. But it'll help you. It'll help your heavy bags. Don't be a jerk about it, That's what I want to say to him. But Attorney Deaton became interested in Spin the Bits years ago when he found that there's an XRP ledger developer, using XRP that had nothing to do with Ripple. So when he realized that, because he was searching out all, various use cases to show, Ripple's not the only reason XRP ledger exists. By the way, he also emphasized that he's not asking for a dime from anyone to invest in it. Right? And then and this is Jay Cambo, by the way. Pulled him up. I had his page pulled up too. So I wish them nothing but the best. I mean, why would this not work? Like, honestly, it already functionally works technologically. Like, why would people not want this technology to be adopted? It just seems like a genius idea. And then here's the third one. Here we go. So this is John Deaton announced what he called his life's work, and I understand why. It's because he wrote a memoir. There's a book, and this is it here on your screen. So it's a memoir he wrote called Food Stamp Warrior, and he actually started working on it in early 2020. I think he said March 2020 he started working on it. So well before the Ripple lawsuit was ever initiated. And it has to do with some very tough subject material, including poverty, violence, drugs, addiction, abuse, and all sorts of other stuff. So very compelling stuff here. And I look forward to checking this out. Now, in the live stream, he actually didn't say where you can get it. So I just did a quick Google search, and it looks like he does have it listed on Amazon here. So it says there's only one available. I don't know does that literally mean one copy is currently available? I don't know. I'm not really sure. He didn't mention anything about Amazon, and he didn't ask me to put this out here. I just Googled it because I wanted to see, okay, can we get, I figured because Amazon's it's kind of the obvious place to start at a minimum. And this is the cover. So he showed the actual physical copy of the book in the live stream. He held up for a second. So that's the cover of the actual book. He went through some stuff that, I mean, I had heard, so because I've been following him so long over the years, there are certain things he's indicated that led me to believe, yeah, it sounds like he's really gone through some stuff. But then when you lay it out, like, what's on the screen here, I mean, check this out. So here's a description of the book. Check this out. From brass knuckle beatdowns on the schoolyard to showdowns with the SEC on the national news, every second of Deaton's life has been a fight for survival. This book is the raw, wild John Deaton story, straight from the source. Born in one of the worst neighborhoods in Detroit, the kind of place the city cordoned off with warning signs, and growing up surrounded by hustlers, addicts, abusers, gangbangers, and the downtrodden, Deaton became a fighter with violence becoming second nature. Deep down, however, all he wanted was to escape. Deaton's escape would take him to law school, where he starved and battled cancer, while his peers lived off privilege. He became a Marine, an attorney, a millionaire, a father, but the unexamined trauma from his past haunted and nearly broke him. This memoir is Deaton's confession, his exorcism, his proclamation to fellow survivors. Don't give up. Our birth is not our fate. We make our own fate. So the overarching message sounds like something. It's like a concept that I very much agree with, which is even if you're dealt a bad hand in life, you can achieve it. So like life's never going to be even. People will start off in better positions than you. That's just the nature of things. But it doesn't mean there isn't opportunity. So that's a message that I've always I've always believed that. I can't think of a moment in my life where I didn't. But it sounds like this book is going to be very raw and very. It sounds like he's not going to be hiding anything in this. So I hope lots of people end up grabbing a copy, and it's cool. So I certainly wasn't guessing announcements number 2 and 3, and so this book was the third one. I figured the first one would have something to do with Stephen Narioff because that's what was being discussed. I mean, I think a lot of people honestly probably guessed that. That one wasn't as hard to guess. The other two I certainly did not, but that was a lot of information all at once. So anyway. That's pretty much it. More's going to be coming out undoubtedly, and as it does, I will continue to cover this because, folks, XRP may have legal clarity, but the story and everything that's going to develop in the world of crypto isn't even almost over. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.